Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today I wanted to talk about 2022, features that I liked throughout the year, what's happening in 2023, delays of 3.18. I just wanted to do a collection of my thoughts and feelings on a variety of Star Citizen issues. It's Christmas. I haven't got time to plan any scripts or plan any videos properly at the moment. Zin's on holiday. So what did I think about 2022 and what happened throughout the year? Well, it was a bit of an odd year for Star Citizen. It was their most funded year ever. They got 110 million throughout the year. That's a lot of money, but there wasn't that much in the way of major releases. It was just 3.17 in the end. Now, they did split up 3.17 into having a lot of components and sort of like having 3.17.1, 0.2, 0.3, and 0.4, and one of those 3.17.2 was actually a relatively major patch, sort of replacing 3.18. But the rest of the year was just them trying to build out towards 3.18. And we saw a load of stuff. We saw rivers added. We saw a variety of ships added throughout the year. The Tully, the Scorpius. We had the various ground vehicles like the Mule, the Centurion, the STV. What else did we have? The Corsair, which I absolutely love the Corsair. It is in sort of my top 10 ships. We had the Cutter, and we had the Medical Pisces as well. So we've got a good amount of ships. Now, there are a good lot of features. I suppose there was like ship-to-ship refueling stuff, and they sort of kept on refining shops and mining, and we had mining gadgets. We had some extra delivery missions. So there was a good lot of stuff added there. I suppose two of the major things that we got were some new missions which had AI be able to walk on planet surfaces. And so like some of the planetary nav mesh stuff was working, so NPCs can be at locations on top of planets and move around them, and also drop off reinforcements there. So cutlasses can come down, bam, drop off some reinforcements, which is sort of essential to having deeper missions and more interesting locations. And yeah, we had some great points of interest there. So the other sort of major thing that I was really sort of excited about with 3.17 stuff was the Siege of Orison. And I think that is the coming together of so many different components and mechanics to make a genuinely great event. I absolutely adore Siege of Orison, warts and all. So it is a relatively large co-op event around the platforms of Orison, which had a focus at FPS gameplay. So you travel there from Orison on a shuttle to the sort of siege platforms, and there's multiple platforms that are being attacked effectively or have been taken over by the Ninetales, and you have to go into buildings, clear the buildings out, trying to find a lieutenant in one of the buildings on these massive platforms to then take the codes off to turn off the anti-air, or to then move on and kill another one of the lieutenants. And all in order to get to the admin platform at the end, and then the sort of barge where the Iffy is sort of this friend or foe inverter, which is causing ships to not be able to actually approach the area, and all these anti-air turrets to shoot anything that does approach. And although it's mostly FPS, there are a limited amount of ships on the platforms, which you will need to assault the admin platform at the end. And this is co-op in the fact that anyone can sort of like join while the event's running, but yeah, you could have up to like 30 or 40 sort of people here at the same time, or you could actually have a load more, but for the feel of it, like 30 or 40 is probably the amount they had originally intended. And it's very combined arms. This is basically what they wanted to do with Theatres of War. And from playing Theatres of War in the original build that they had at CitizenCon 2019 and a variety of times during Evocati, I can tell you, yeah, that's exactly what the feel is. It feels very much like Theatres of War. It feels very much like a lot of the stuff they learnt from doing some of the early stages of Theatres of War is here. And they've implemented it pretty well with limited technology and sort of problems they have with like low tick rates and AI issues and stuff like that. It was still pretty fun despite its flaws. And it's very much a mission that taught me the value of bringing medical gear with you so that you can sort of heal people that get downed. Because people get downed all over the place that you can then go and rescue. That event as well is only going to get better and has led to them making the Siege of Orison platforms open in 3.18 as sort of like mini missions. They sort of go, well, actually this individual building, there's a clear out all the NPCs at this building sort of mission, separate from the Siege of Orison event. So really, that's what I really liked in 2022. I also really liked them announcing the Galaxy. So the RSI Galaxy is their latest concept ship. Now, I don't like the Galaxy itself. I'm not interested in the ship. But I am interested the fact it's a modular ship, and they're starting to talk about modularity again in earnest. I want to see lots of different functionality for the Caterpillar, for a variety of different ships. And oddly, something slightly connected to that, I suppose, maybe, is Cloud Imperium sort of went, in 3.18, we're also going to have some basic temporary crafting with the refiller stations on the Vulture and the Reclaimer. So you can actually use the salvage to build a multi-tool and multi-tool attachments, as well as the ammo, the sort of RMC canisters for the salvage/repair tool. I would love to see fabrication sort of modularity in ships. Go, well, actually, my Caterpillar can have a small fabrication quarters, and it gives me the ability to craft ammo or something like that. Even recharging stations or things like that for sort of energy ammo, stuff like that. Oh, that'd be so awesome. Obviously, a bit disappointed in 2022 with the delays to 3.18. Obviously, it would have been great to have it earlier in the year, and it's a bit of a disappointment that it's still not in our hands in an open PTU at time of recording. It's still Wave 1 PTU. That said, it's more important that it's sort of in a non-buggy state and that they just make progress. And yes, that progress is sometimes slow, but persistent entity streaming and a load of the other features in 3.18 with the Gen 12 renderer and the new salvage mechanics and the soft destruction system, all these hugely important big components coming to the game, all sort of being tossed at each other, have contributed to that delay. So as we look to January 2023, we should get a live build for 3.18. Really looking forward to it. And I'm expecting an interesting 2023. So we know that Cloud Imperium want to do a physical CitizenCon in LA, but there might be something quite big to that. That's what it feels like. I'm expecting the year to realistically just have we'll have 3.18.x at the end of sort of Q1 would be my expectation. Sort of not a major patch, just an upgrade of 3.18. Then Q2, probably the 3.19 patch. And there's a load of stuff that they can put in here. There's a lot of stuff like a Vulcan they're working on and some new ships and evolving the salvage mechanics. Maybe things like Bounty Hunting version 2. Basically preparing a load of the gameplay for what they would want in Pyro and a Pyro Stanton sort of mix. Probably a load of new locations and points of interest and a load of new missions. Hoping they get things out like the Spirit series of ships and potentially even the X1 and some bits like that. I then expect the rest of the year basically to be dedicated to them trying to get 4.0 out the door by the end of the year. They want to get Pyro out. It's been the journey and the road to Pyro for quite a while now. And that is what I'm most looking forward to in 2023. 4.0, hopefully coming out at the end of the year. And you can certainly be a bit cautious about that because obviously we were expecting 3.18 to be out live this year and it's not. It's been pushed to January. Won't we almost certainly see the same thing in 2023 where we get near the end of the year and they push it again? Well, they've been working on 3.19 and 4.0 even while sort of 3.18 was delayed a few times. One of the reasons that these delays are sort of occurring at the moment is because they are getting these hugely important core tech pieces into the game and they can't really just release a major patch without some of the core tech that they had planned for it. So persistent entity streaming in 3.18, for example. Is it possible that server meshing won't be ready by then? Well, it's certainly possible, yes. We've got to face that possibility. And it would be server meshing that would be the feature that would hold anything up. It was the thing that would cause the most delays. But yes, I'm incredibly excited about sort of 2023 and the prospect of getting Pyro in, server meshing in, and a huge amount of new sort of gameplay area. The Pyro system is absolutely massive as well, so much bigger than Stanton. There's not as much opportunity there to get refuel, repair, and rearm, and that sort of jazz in that system either. You'd have to go to Ruin Station, or maybe some of the facilities might be available at a quite expensive rate based on your reputation with some of the factions at some of these sort of abandoned-ish stations as well. But if you're going there in a smaller ship, you're going to need refueling probably relatively regularly from Starfarers, which could charge you a lot of money. I think it's going to focus a lot of the sort of more dangerous and PvP gameplay into an area. I think we're going to see some much more interesting Xenothreat stuff turn up here. But that's not all for 2023. They are working on a load of other stuff. They're working on the resource management system, which is absolutely huge. sort of getting the circuitry of ships in the game and how the resources move between sort of the power plants and all the different areas of the ship, and that circuitry can become damaged. You need to do sort of engineering gameplay to reroute power or to repair sort of junction and boxes and fuses that have broken. Fires can break out. You need to put out those fires potentially. Oxygen can get consumed. There's life support systems. Something I'm very much hoping they do at the same time or just afterwards is physicalized components. I've basically been parroting how important physicalized components are for the game to get in as quickly as possible, because then they can sort of finalize a lot of the ship combat, or at least start to balance a lot of the sort of ship components and have actual variety in components. But we also know they're working on master modes, which is a huge change to the combat and flight systems in game. Having a nav mode where you can't use your shields or weapons, but you can travel very fast, you can quantum jump, and then combat mode where you can't quantum jump and you can only travel at your SM speeds, but you have access to your weapons and shields, sort of making combat and what you're doing with your ship very deliberate. Something else to be really excited for is Vulkan integration, because that should give us a load of the sort of mod cons, graphics option wise, of a lot of games that are out there released now. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. It should increase performance quite a lot on a huge range of systems, although knowing CIG, they're going to immediately try and go, well, that means we can put more effects and more pretty stuff in the game. But anyway, I have rambled on far too long. Hope you guys have a fantastic Christmas, or at the very least, happy holidays. I'm really interested to know what you're excited about for 2023. Do you think they're going to make sort of the deadline by the end of the year to get 4.0 in the game, or do you think it's going to be delayed into 2024? Are there any particular ships or features that you're really looking forward to in 2023 or hoping that turn up? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Do you have eyes? I know I do. Do you want precise eye and head tracking that's natively supported in Star Citizen for that deep immersion? And it just so happens that Tobii Eye Tracker 5 has a 20% off sale until the 2nd of January 2023. So go to tobii.gg/BoredGamer or follow the links down below to get your discount.
Ho ho ho! Merry Nordmas!
It's Santa!
No, Timmy, it's Father Nordmas. I'm legally distinct and spread NordVPN cheer. Here you go, little Tim. Have some discount on your next NordVPN purchase. Just what you wanted. Go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer.
But Santa, we don't want a VPN.
I told you, Tim, it's Father Nordmas.
Every month we have a ship giveaway. For December, we are giving away the mighty Drake Corsair Explorer with a Star Citizen game package and lifetime insurance. This no-nonsense Explorer can take you and 3 friends to the limits of adventure around the verse, and although more focused on exploration and expedition, it is a great multi-role mission runner too. Comment on any of my videos during December to be in for a chance of winning that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Please don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the videos, leave comments, and if you feel so inclined, use the join button under my videos and give a little bit each month to help the channel. It really, really does help. Or you can even become a Patreon or donate. Check out all the links below. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great time in the verse.